Welcome to Torah City. This is Biblical Cosmology Lesson 3, Yah's Throne and New Jerusalem. In this video, we will present what the scriptures teach about the heavenly realm, including Yah's throne and the city of New Jerusalem. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, and turn notifications on. So how is his throne described? Let's take a look at a few passages and see what we can discover. Isaiah chapter 6. Verses 1, 2, and 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also Yahweh sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. Then flew one of the seraphim unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. So there is an altar before the throne, and it has hot coals on it. Ezekiel 10, verses 1 and 2. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them, as it were, a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under this cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubim, and scatter them over the city. Ezekiel 1, verse 26 through 28. And above the firmament that was over their heads, with the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. And I saw, as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw, as it were, the appearance of fire, as it had brightness round about, as the appearance of a bow that is in the cloud, in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of Yahweh. Daniel chapter 7, verse 9. And the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Revelation 4, verses 2 through 6. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like jasper and sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices. And there were 7 lamps of fire burning before his throne, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim. And before the throne there was a sea of glass, like unto crystal. And in the midst of the throne, and round about the throne, were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. Revelation 8, verse 3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the altar, which is before the throne. Revelation 20, verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it. Revelation 22, verses 1 through 2. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. 1 Enoch chapter 14, verses 18 through 21. And I looked, and I saw therein a lofty throne, and its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. And there was the vision of the cherubim. And from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter, and could behold his face by reason of the magnificence of the glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none could draw nigh to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. 1 Enoch chapter 18, verse 6. And I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 toward the east, and 3 toward the south. And as for these toward the east, was of colored stone, one of pearl, and one of jacinth, and those toward the south of a red stone. But the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of Elohim, of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire. Enoch chapter 25, verses 1 through 5. And he said unto me, Enoch, why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree? And why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Then I answered him, saying, I wish to know everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered, saying, This high mountain which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of Elohim, is his throne, where the great Holy One, Yahweh of glory, the eternal King, will sit, when he shall come to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it, till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It then shall be given to the righteous and holy. Its fruit shall be for food for the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of Yahweh, the eternal King. 1 Enoch chapter 71, verse 5 through 7. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle with which that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were strings full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the house of his glory. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked upon up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. How is New Jerusalem described? Revelation 21, verses 1 through 2 and 10 through 19. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto the stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth 4 and its length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof, 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was like jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all the manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th chrysoprasus, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, and every gate was of 1 pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahweh Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it, for the glory of Elohim did lighten it, and the light of the Lamb is the light thereof. Next, let's look at verses about the heavenly temple. Psalm 11, verse 4. Yahweh is in his holy temple. Yahweh's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold. His eyelids try the children of men. Revelation 11, verse 19. And the temple of Elohim was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. Revelation 14, verse 17. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. Revelation chapter 15, verse 5. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened. Revelation 16, verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. Scripture describes the heavenly city New Jerusalem as a mountain and calls it Mount Zion. Isaiah 14, verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim, and I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Psalm 74, verse 2. Remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Psalms 9, verse 11. Sing praises to Yahweh, which dwelleth in Zion. Psalms 14, verse 7. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. When Yahweh bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Psalms 48, verses 1 and 2. Great is Yahweh, and greatly to be praised in the city of our Elohim, in the mountain of his holiness. Beauty for situation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion, on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. Psalms 99, verses 1 through 2. Yahweh reigneth, let the people tremble. He sitteth between the cherubim, let the earth be moved. Yahweh is great in Zion, he is high above all the people. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 2 through 3. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the tops of the mountains, and he shall be exalted above all hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of Elohim of Jacob. He will teach us of all his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Joel chapter 3, verse 17. So you know that I am Yahweh your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. So let's recap what we've seen so far. We have Yah's throne, which is made of a combination of alabaster and sapphire. Around the throne is brightness of many stones and resembles a rainbow in front of the throne. There is an altar that has a coal or stones of fire sandwiched between cherubim. There are also seraphim angels next to the throne, and Ophanim angels which look like wheels to move the throne. Also in front of the throne is a 7-branched menorah, above which are the 7 spirits of Yah. Proceeding out of the throne is the river of life and the tree of life. And the entire throne complex is housed within the heavenly temple, which looks like crystal and surrounded by fire. All of that is contained within the city of New Jerusalem, which is also called Mount Zion. The descriptions we get are very detailed, although it is difficult to imagine its true beauty and glory while on the earth. That is the end of Biblical Cosmology Lesson 3. Take the quiz and see how you did. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.